Hey guys, so today's video is a video that I wasn't planning on making, but the times are what they are, so we're doing it. And this video is about giving advice and tips to parents who are homeschooling, who don't necessarily want to be homeschooling, but have to be because schools are closed. Now, before I get into my advice, I want to introduce myself. My name is Janice, and you're watching Sharp Cookie channel. On this channel, we give you the best advice on learning and problem solving. So please subscribe and hit the bell to be notified. Okay, so let's get into the advice for today. Now, I'm a tutor. I've been tutoring for about 5 years. I have over 3,000 hours of tutoring experience, and I felt like since parents at home are becoming tutors, that I can share some advice with them. So the first thing I want to share is just to be realistic and have realistic expectations. You can't just replace your child's teacher overnight. That teacher has many years of experience, a lot of education in teaching, has probably been doing the same lesson for many years, and has experience teaching many types of students. And you do not. So to put yourself in those shoes and expect to all of a sudden replace the teacher is not realistic. It's also not realistic to try to recreate school in your home environment. Those are two different things, and they can't be recreated. So the thing you can do is think about the positives of what you bring as your child's teacher or tutor, and what you can do at home that you can't necessarily do at school that's actually a benefit. So a few things that I want you to think about is, one, a teacher at school has 30 or more students, and they can't give your child any individual attention at all. So that's one thing that you can give your child, individual attention, that a regular teacher cannot. And this is huge. What I can usually teach a student in 30 minutes or an hour might take them a week to understand in a classroom setting, or they might never understand it. Why? Because the teacher isn't assessing each student's understanding on every single topic as they go along. But that's what you're going to be doing. That's your role. As you teach something, you can assess whether your child has actually understood it. And in that case, you can also see where they're not understanding it and how to correct them and explain it in a different way so that they understand it. So this is a huge benefit that you have that your teacher doesn't have. The other benefit is obviously you know your child better than the teacher does. You've known your child many years, you know what they're strong at, what they're not strong at, how they like to learn, what they like to do, whether they're kinesthetic learners or verbal learners. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, I have videos on that you can watch. So you know this about your child, and therefore you can tailor your lessons and what you're teaching to them in a better way than a teacher can. And what that means is you don't have to teach 7 hours a day. So A, that's not realistic, which I want you to be, but B, you don't need that. What you can teach in a short amount of time, or maybe short little segments throughout the day with breaks, is huge. And usually that's all your child is going to need. Now, the home environment is not school, and you don't need it to be. So let's think about the benefits that can happen when you're in a home environment versus a school environment. So the main one is flexibility. At school, you have to spend a certain amount of time on a certain subject, and you start at a certain time, you finish at a certain time, you eat at a certain time, you go home at a certain time. And when you're homeschooling, you don't have to. So if your child learns better in the afternoons, have your lessons in the afternoons. You don't have to wake them up at 7 a.m. to do lessons. Maybe your child would rather learn outside, so take them out into the backyard and do something outside. So tailor your sessions to your child, to your student, and don't think about how school is structured, because you know what? That's a huge benefit. If they're really excited about a topic, you don't have to end it just because 45 minutes went by. Or if they're just not excited, do something else and come back to that topic later. So think about how you can use flexibility to your advantage. So my next piece of advice is to disguise learning as something fun. And I know you're used to doing this as parents, right? You want your child to eat broccoli, so you stick it in lasagna. And that's the same thing I want you to do with this scenario where you're trying to teach. Because if the child thinks this is work, then it's going to be a painful process. If the child thinks that they're playing and they're having fun and this is a game or a challenge or a puzzle, it's going to be a very different experience. So what I do with my students is I really try to find something that interests them. I try to relate it to their life. I try to create games out of it, challenges. I challenge them to play against me, or you could challenge them to play against their siblings and see like who's faster. There's tons of games you can buy online that you can play with your kids. So the more you can disguise learning as something fun, the better it is going to be for everyone, and the longer they'll do it. So I even taught one of my kids Sudoku because it works logic and reasoning and pattern finding and visual spatial skills, because I knew that I'd rather have her spending hours on that when I'm not around rather than being on social media. So think about activities that are engaging for your kid, that are fun but are also learning. This flows really nicely into my next point, which is engagement. And this is something that you can bring to your child even more than a teacher can. Because you're working one-on-one, you have the advantage of always engaging with your child. So I'll give you some examples. If you're going to do screen time, and there's a lot of stuff going around the internet about use this resource, watch this TED Talk, watch this video of this science guy, take a gym class online, and all of that is great, but it has to also include engagement, or the educational value is going to be really low, in my opinion. So I wouldn't just stick your kid in front of the screen and throw on a TED Talk and call it a day. And I mean, you can do that, but I wouldn't really count it as educational. You can maybe do it to get a break from them for a while, but I wouldn't count that as learning time. They're going to take away very little. Now, what you can do is sit with them, watch it together, and pause that video at certain points and engage your child with the video. So ask them, how did you understand that? Explain that to me. Or did you agree with what the speaker said? Or can you think of an example where this would not be true? Or how does this relate to your life? Or how does it relate to your friends? Think about how you can engage them, and that's how they will learn. So don't just blindly put on a YouTube video and think that they're learning, or throw on Khan Academy. If you're going to put on Khan Academy, again, sit there with them, watch the video with them, engage with them, ask them to solve problems with you, see where they're going wrong. This is what I do as a tutor. Half of the job is observing. You have to really observe what your child is doing and figuring out where in their problem-solving process they're possibly getting derailed. Or maybe thinking about, what can I say to get them to get to that point without coming out and saying it, so that they discover it on their own. This is all part of engaging with them. All right, and my last piece of advice for this video is get help if you need it. So as we already mentioned, you're not trained for this. It's like you're going on a job overnight with zero training. So it's perfectly acceptable to get help where you need it. Maybe you don't want to spend half the day trying to learn algebra so you could teach it to your kid and probably only do it half as good, and it's kind of like blind leading the blind. So instead, find a family member, find a friend that can teach your child online for an hour, and everybody's happier and better off. And if you don't have someone, I highly recommend hiring an online tutor. Now, yes, this is screen time, but that tutor is going to engage with your student. So it's not like watching a Khan Academy video where the student's just staring at a screen and there's no engagement. That tutor is going to ask the child, okay, tell me what you're thinking. Explain to me this. They're going to assess whether your child is comprehending or not and adjust accordingly, which a regular video can't do. So find somebody that can teach your child if you can't, or if you don't have the time, energy, and enthusiasm. So just like if you needed to get your floors done and you didn't want to spend hours and hours trying to learn how to do it yourself, you hire somebody else with better expertise to do it for you. And it's the same thing with teaching. If you don't want to learn how to be a teacher, there's plenty of online tutors who are there and willing to help you. And I'm not just saying it because I offer online tutoring. I really believe in it. I would make the same recommendation to family members and my own friends who have kids. Now, if you're looking for a fun way, like I was talking about, to engage your kids without making it seem like work, I have a Facebook group called Sharp Cookie Community, and there we problem solve and discuss different challenges and puzzles. So the link is below. Please find us and engage with us there. I also offer online tutoring, as I mentioned. So if you do need help and you don't have friends or family members to help you, please reach out. My email address is hellosharpcookie@gmail.com. So that's all we have for today. I'm Janice. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you enjoyed this video. I post new videos every week on problem solving and learning. I promise there's something valuable there for you. All right, have a great day. Please share this video with other parents if you found it valuable. All right, this is Janice. You're watching Sharp Cookie. Bye.